Hey, Annie, are you there? There's something that I'd like to talk to you about. You see, my nephew just told me that he was going to be getting married. Did you hear about this?
Oh, hello, Martha. No, I hadn't heard that he was getting married, but congratulations, that's great.
What are you talking about? Of course this isn't great. This isn't great at all. It's so much more than great. It's fantastic. It's incredible.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm sorry that I lacked the proper enthusiasm.
Do you have any idea who it is that Andy is going to be getting married to? I heard that his fiancé makes a solid $1 million every year. Not bad for a woman, huh?
So Andy's fiance makes $1 million salary? Well, that really is something, I have to admit.
Not only that, but she also comes from a very rich family with lots of money themselves. And to top it all off, she even went to one of the top schools in the nation. Oh my, where are my manners? I really shouldn't be talking about how great this woman is to someone like you. I'd hate for you to get jealous.
No, it's really fine. I think it's great that Andy is going to be marrying someone so smart and successful.
You really are a bad actress, do you know that? I know that you're just boiling over with jealousy right now, aren't you? You know that no matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to live up to a woman like that. I just wish that my son could have someone more like her and less like you. I mean, doesn't my son know that you didn't even go to college? What was he thinking getting with you?
Well, I may not have gotten my bachelor's degree or anything like that, but I did manage to earn an associate's for some job training.
Are you really trying to brag about having an associate's degree? That's nothing. It's meaningless. But what else should I expect from someone raised by a single father? My Orwell should have known that you never make a good wife for him.
I'm sorry, Martha, but just what is it about me exactly that you think makes me a bad wife? I'd also appreciate you not talking about my dad in that way. He worked hard all his life to make sure I was raised right.
You really think that you could ever be raised right in a family where your mom walked out on you and just left you two alone together? There's no way that a useless man could ever raise a daughter right without the influence of a woman around. And that's how I know that you're not wife material. Oh, I just really wish that Orwell could wake up and realize that too.
I'm not sure where you're getting your information from, but my mom didn't walk out on us. My parents discussed things before getting their divorce, and it was all mutually agreeable.
But surely you've noticed that compared to other women getting married, you're woefully unprepared, right? I mean, you don't even know how to take care of a house all by yourself.
Well, I suppose someone who has never done anything in her life but be a homemaker would think that of my skills, yes. And for that, I'm really sorry, but you should know that I try hard to get better at it every day.
Well, if you want my advice, you should really try and take some cooking lessons. I think that's where you really screw up the most. So don't get cocky just because you've happened to make a few good dishes now and then, okay?
Oh, I didn't realize that I was being cocky about anything at all right now.
Well, what about when my family came over to the house to celebrate the New Year with us? You remember all the people who came, right? You must have thought it was so nice having men fawning over you, complimenting your cooking and style and looks. But you really just let that go all straight to your head, didn't you?
I'm sorry, but I really am not sure what one has to do with the other. But if you really want to know, yes, I was happy to have so much fun with your family. But I certainly never meant for it to appear as if I was taking that for granted or trying to show off at all.
Oh, please. It was so obvious what you were trying to do. I saw the way you were smiling and pretending to be so happy around everyone. You must have forgotten that they were there for New Year's and not you. But who cares as long as you were being complimented, right?
Martha, I'm really not sure where any of this is coming from at all, but I really don't think I was acting the way you remember.
Oh, please. I know what I saw, and I know how to read straight the kind of woman that you really are, Annie.
I mean, I guess that I must not be the kind of person that you like, but I just can't understand what it is that makes you act this way.
I already told you exactly why it is I feel this way about you. Weren't you reading my messages at all? Or were they just not making it through that thick skull of yours?
There really isn't any need for you to be talking to me like that.
Oh, please. You don't get to order me around. I know right from the start that my little Orwell should have never married a girl like you. But just remember that this is your fault for not being a better woman and a better wife. I hope that my son falls out of love with you and leaves you far behind.
If you have a problem, I can accept that, but please keep your comments about my marriage and husband to yourself.
You really telling me how to talk about my own son right now? You really do have some nerve, do you know that? But I'm only being honest. It's just a matter of time before he leaves you, and I hope it's sooner rather than later. And then we can all finally be rid of you for good. Hey there, Annie. I was just wondering how much longer were you going to take to finally get back home?
Well, I actually just did get back home, so here I am, I guess.
I see. Well, I'm glad to hear that you made it back all in one piece.
Thank you? Anyways, how are you doing? Did you also just get home from the family reunion?
Well, if you really must know, I actually went to a nice little family gathering today. It was pleasant and relaxing and not stressful in the least.
Okay, well, those are all good things. It sounds to me like you had a good time catching up with the family then. I hope that one day I can feel that same way at these family gatherings that happen.
Oh no, you should never be made to feel comfortable around my family. You should always feel on edge and like you're doing something wrong around them. Don't you know anything about being a wife at all? Don't you see how arrogant that was of you to say?
Was it really? I don't even know what I did.
You really are sad, do you know that? You barely helped at all in the kitchen, and you were completely useless. You humiliated me in front of everyone.
I really don't think that's fair. I was doing a lot of cooking and was only able to eat after everyone else had been served. In fact, the only reason I stopped to eat at all is because of the rest of your family insisting that I had done enough and deserved a break.
And you just did what they said in the first invitation? Don't you know that good wife should insist on working despite people telling her to stop? Don't you know of the rules of hosting your husband's family? You can't just stop working because someone tells you to. Honestly, don't you know anything at all? You really are just so embarrassing all of the time.
I'm sorry, Martha. I just didn't want to argue with your family, and I was getting pretty tired, so I thought it would be okay.
I don't care what excuse you've come up with to try and excuse yourself out of this. Why did you even bother showing up to this event when you're not part of the family?
But you just said that I was part of the family, right? I mean, you were talking about me hosting my husband's family, which I'd also be a part of, right?
This just proves you really don't know anything at all. You're nobody, got it? You're nothing to this family, and I don't appreciate you trying to sink your claws into my family.
I'm not trying to sink my claws into anyone. Besides, Orwell and I are literally married.
You think that just because you've married someone means that you're part of their family? You need to earn your place here, and it's going to take some time. And you are going to be banned from any further family functions until you've built up more trust.
But I felt like everyone enjoyed having me around. I didn't think I was doing anything awkward. Everyone was so nice to me. I thought I had finally started to ingratiate myself to them.
And just what in the world makes you think that you can be a fair judge of that, Besides, you only got that impression because, unlike you, my family knows the basics of manners and dealing with outsiders like you. But if you're just going to talk back to me like this, then I don't ever want to see you at another family gathering again. Do you understand me?
You really never want me to show up to another one of these functions again?
That's right. At least you seem to be able to understand that much. But I just can't stand you embarrassing me any longer. Now, we are going to be having a wedding in the family next month, but you are not to show your face there. Understand?
Are you talking about the wedding for Orwell's cousin? He and I both got invitations to be there. Wouldn't the rude thing be to not show up at this point?
There you go again, showing that you really have no idea how the real world works. You were going to tell her that something came up and that's why you can't show up. Are you really so stupid that you needed me to think that up for you as well?
But wouldn't it be weird if I didn't go to the wedding but Orwell did?
And just what would be weird about that? Why do you think that anyone would want some outsider like you showing up at this wedding anyways?
Martha, I think the only one who doesn't want me to be at the wedding is actually you.
Of course it's not only me. My husband says all the time about how uppity he thinks you are and how rude and embarrassing you're always being.
Are you sure? Because I really don't get that sense from the times that I've interacted with him.
Oh, so no, you don't think you know my husband better than I do? And if you have tricked anyone into liking you, it's only because you're being a little kiss-up. But I'm sick and tired of seeing you do nothing at our family reunions.
And your husband really agrees with all of what you're saying about me?
Of course. Neither I nor my husband like you at all, do you understand? And the rest of the family feels the exact same way. Nobody can stand being around you in my family, and that's why you're banned from any future family events. Do I make myself clear, Annie?
Oh yes, you make yourself crystal clear, Martha. I'll be sure to remember this.
Annie, are you there? This is an emergency. Get back to me as soon as you can. I need you to send me some money right away.
Wait, what? I'm confused. What is all of this about? Why do you need me to send you money?
It's my husband. Haven't you heard about him? He can't work anymore.
Oh, yes, I heard about him and that he'd gotten sick with something.
Well, it's true. The disease, he just ravaged his body, and now he barely has any strength to even eat, let alone work a job. That's why you need to start sending us $2,000 a month.
But I thought you said that I wasn't part of the family and that I was just an outsider, right? You told me that you didn't want me weeding my way into your family's affairs, remember?
What in the world are you talking about? Of course we're family, and family is supposed to help each other during times of need.
I'm only quoting things that you've said to me in the past. You told me that I wasn't part of the family and that I'd have to earn my way into it. That's why you told me to stop showing up to family functions or events, remember?
But you're married to my son. How can you say that you're not family when you're literally my daughter-in-law?
That's exactly what I was trying to ask you all those years ago, but you shot me down and insisted that you were right about everything. But the only people we think of as our parents now are my parents. You're the one who's nothing to us now. You're not a part of this family.
I knew it. I knew that you were no good, useless wife. I should have been more strict with you. Now look at you thinking you can talk to me like this.
You literally tried to ban me from participating in any family functions. You do realize that, right? If you didn't like the consequences of what you said to me, then you shouldn't have said that in the first place. Why don't you try being a bit more of an adult and take responsibility for the things that you've said? Because I am not going to sit here and pretend like you didn't start all of this first.
You rude little ingrate. You really are just horrible, do you know that? How dare you try and talk to your own mother-in-law that way?
I already told you that you're nothing to me, so if you think that you can just call on Orwell and I in your time of need, then that's too bad. I mean, aren't you even embarrassed in the slightest about asking like this? Besides, if your husband is really sick and can't work, then it sounds to me like it's time for you to get a job.
But you know that I've never held a job as long as I've lived. Besides, who in their right minds would hire someone at my age?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think places are pretty desperate for new hires. I'm sure that if you apply yourself, you'll find something. But I'm not about to let you start leeching off of us because you're too lazy to work.
And just who do you think you are calling me a leech, huh? What's wrong with a mother coming to her son and wife and asking for help like this? Why are you taking such a horrible attitude with me when you can see that I just want a little help? How can you be rude like this?
You're the one that's reaching out to me after years of not talking, and you're only doing it to ask for money. Why on earth do you think that I would have to be polite to you for doing that? You didn't even try to build up to asking for it. You really are such a nasty person to deal with. Do you know that? Why would I give money to someone who's been so horrible to me?
Ugh, I've had it with you. I don't know why I even bothered sending this message to you. I knew that I should have just gone to my son about this in the first place. I never want to hear from you again. Do you understand me? Annie, dear? Are you there? I just wanted to apologize for my behavior earlier and for the things that I said.
Didn't you just tell me that you never ever wanted to hear from me again?
Well, yes, but that was taking things too far. I shouldn't have said that. I guess I just got a bit flustered is all.
You mean you got upset because I told you I wasn't going to give you any money? And now you're only apologizing to me because you think doing so will get you money.
Well, I didn't think that Orwell would be so upset with me either, but he told me that he couldn't forgive me for the way that I had treated you.
I see. I actually was just getting some texts from Orwell about how mad he was that he had to deal with you again today.
He told me that he didn't want to talk to me ever again either. But I didn't even do anything. I don't deserve to be treated like this. I know that you're a good enough wife to know how to treat your mother-in-law, right?
Excuse me? You made me feel like an idiot just for wanting to get along with your family. You told me that I was an embarrassment, and now you have the gall to try and pretend like none of that happened? Do you really believe that, or do you just think I'm stupid enough to fall for this?
I don't think you're stupid at all, Annie. Please, let's not fight. That's not what I came here to do. Can't we all just be polite right now?
Oh, really? And just where was being polite with each other earlier today, huh? I don't care how many times you apologize to me, you aren't going to get a penny out of me. So go ahead and find someone else to try and mooch off of.
Please, I just need $1,000. Just $1,000 a month. We don't make enough money with our retirement to make ends meet here. Even if I were to work, it still wouldn't be enough. Besides, I still have to wait for my paycheck, and we really need the money now. Can't you just please help us until then?
I'm sorry, but it sounds to me like you'll just have to make some serious cuts to your budget. You might want to go and stock up on some instant noodles and other cheap foods.
You really can't expect people our age to live off that, do you? Please, we barely even have enough for groceries. Are you really going to condemn 2 seniors to having to live like this?
Sounds to me like you don't have much of a choice. Besides, it's not my fault you didn't plan better in your youth for when you would get old. But I suppose now you can really only blame yourself for how poor you are now.
Okay, fine. It doesn't have to be 1,000, but at least 500. Surely you can spare that much.
I'm afraid that you're really not getting it, are you? I'm not quite sure that there's much point in continuing this conversation at this point.
Please, don't do this to me. Don't you realize that you're going to be leaving me with nothing? I need money. I have debts.
Are you talking about the mortgage on your house or something like that?
No, not that. I've been carrying around a bit of debt with me for the past few years.
And just how did you end up getting all of this debt in the first place?
Well, I applied for a new credit card because my husband was always telling me to cut back on my shopping, and I didn't want him to know, and well, I guess I just ended up spending more than I expected to.
And just how much credit card debt do you have now?
It's about $30,000 with debt at the moment.
Wow, I really just don't even know what to say to that at all.
But I thought that would be okay. I didn't know that my husband was going to get sick. I thought that he'd still be working. I didn't think that he'd be forced to retire this early.
I see. And so I take it that you also don't have any savings at all to help pay off this debt then? It sounds to me like you're in a really bad situation, aren't you? And do you really think that we're going to help you out with this even after all you've said to me? Because it's just not going to happen. You both are just going to have to figure out how to live like this now.
You mean you don't feel bad for my husband at all? You don't care that he's ill and can't work and needs help?
You know, I hoped that your husband might have been different, but after the way you treated me, I realized that even if he didn't say anything about me directly, he would always laugh at jokes at my expense. I never felt like I was treated that way by any other member of your family, so now you two are on your own. Now, please, just keep your word this one time and never contact me or my husband again. After that, I heard through the grapevine that Martha did end up finding a job after all. But since she had so little work experience, she was fired from every place that would hire her on. As Martha tried to look for a job that she could handle, her and her husband had to sell their house and downsized greatly. Martha had tried applying to many jobs, but it took her a while to realize that the only one that would hire her would be ones that required no kind of skills or education. She hoped to find at least a desk job where she wouldn't be asked to do so much, but she ended up having to take on multiple part-time jobs, many of which ended up letting her go. Apparently what had happened to Martha's husband was that he collapsed due to overwork. For years, he had been the sole breadwinner and kept the house running by working overtime almost every day. And yet, despite his condition, after Martha began working, neighbors began to talk about how loud fights could be heard from their new tiny apartment. In the end, it sounded like Martha wanted to get a divorce, but knew that doing so would only hurt her financial situation further, and so she couldn't bring herself to do it. As time passed, however, the stress of living a life like that began to show on both of them. As for Orwell and I, we only keep in contact with my parents and almost never talk about Martha. My parents really love Orwell and think of him as the son that they never had. And Orwell does a great job taking care of them and helping out around the house when he's able to. Of course, I never wanted things to go the way they did with his parents, but I'm happy that we could still find family that love and care for us and that we can do the same for them in return. We still keep in touch with the rest of Orwell's family too, and they've all apologized for the way that Martha had treated me. They respect our choice not to talk to Orwell's parents, but still make an effort to include us in things where they won't be attending. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.